Hello, everybody.
Who's going to introduce me?
I'm the other half of the D brothers. There's one D. I'll let you guess what that D is, but here I am. I'm illegally parked on 51st Street. You know how this fucking city works, right? But with no further ado, on my way to JFK, I knew I had to get here for my elder D brother and his presentation of his wonderful book to y'all and his speeches and his talks and this and that. So, of course, John Densmore, my hero. I'm pretty sure he could fill up the room with his words and his vibes and way beyond the books that you've written. Our publisher, Johnny Temple, is somewhere in the place to be, and he won't tell New York City to stay off of my fucking rent-a-car. But I was introduced to this great man because I was searching for him after I was introduced to one of my great heroes, and we have something in common. I call him the captain, and his name is Jack Holtzman, the founder of Electra Records. Yeah. He basically founded his record company on a moped in these New York City streets. I don't know if they ever towed his moped, but here I am to introduce the great Johnny D, John Densmore. We have a project coming up in 2024. That's the year that's coming up next, right? And also, we share the same engineer right now, and he is manipulating my voice with his drums. And he exactly knows what to say from this point forward. So I'd like to salute you all for the one and only, incredible Johnny D. John Densmore. I take tips every day on how to make a super group last across the century line in the sands of time. Thank you, John Densmore. And I'm here to Delta JFK. Peace, y'all.
So I met him a few years ago on a panel, and about a year ago, he emails me and says, Chuck D plus John D equals dope. He's so friggin' creative, I didn't know that he meant the D-O was in the Doors logo and the P-E is in Public Enemy. Yeah, so whatever we're doing, I think it's alt hip-hop. Next year, we got there. Okay. So thank you for coming. Apologies, because of my age and COVID, I'm trying to be careful, and I sign all the books ahead of time. I can't really personalize each person and sign door swag and all. Thanks for understanding. Is everybody in? Is everybody in?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what am I doing? Before I talk about how the doors got knocked off their hinges and then put back on, I'm going to do something for my first book. I have not one but 3 self-centered memoirs. And Riders on the Storm is the early section, which I'm going to do, and then we'll get into the rest of it. Okay. So this is self-explanatory. Our first album, simply called The Doors, had just been released. An existential album, as Ray said in an interview, by 4 incredibly hungry young men striving and dying to make it, desperately wanting to get a good record out to the American public, wanting the public to like it. we had no idea that Light My Fire was going to be a giant hit. But something in my bones told me the transition from verse into chorus was special. And Jim was very happy with the end, his dark, poetic, stream of consciousness vision, accompanied by Robbie's sitar electric guitar. When the album was released, each of the band members got 10 copies. And I held off for a few days, and then finally played the album for my parents. I was very proud of it, but I was nervous about their reaction to a particular song called The End. This first cut is Break On Through. It's fast and loud. This next one is Soul Kitchen. Has a nice groove. The cars call past, all stuffed with eyes. The street lights shed their hollow glow. Your brain seems bruised with numb surprise. Still one place to go. Jim's words are incredible. Crystal Ship's a beautiful ballad. Hey, you'll like this one. It's a cutie. She's a 20th century fox, and she's a 20th. Okay. Alabama song. It's different. It's kind of European. We didn't write this. Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill wrote it from a German opera, Mahagoni. Oh, show me the way to the next yeah. And the last cut on side one, it's called Light My Fire. I think it could be a hit. Sounds very nice, my dad offered as I turned the record over. Wait till you hear the end, Dad. Then we'll see if you still think it's nice. I forgot to put this on. Hang on. This is an old blues. We didn't write this either. Willie Dixon, Backdoor Man. I looked at you. It's another cutie. End of the night's kind of eerie. Fun to create a mood around Jim's words. Jim got the title Take It As It Comes from one of Maharishi's teachers. Here it goes. This is called The End. It's weird. It's kind of long, 10 minutes or so. Jim wrote some stuff about Greek tragedy. Oedipus or something. Do you know this word? Well, I didn't either. It's about a son killing his father and then messing with his mother. Jim doesn't mean it literally. I mean, it's all symbolic, you know. I quickly put the needle on the record to dispel the awkwardness. My mother shifted position, couldn't shift again, and then shift again. I listened with them, reliving every drum beat. When the listening party was over, my parents sat silently, drained. They complimented me cordially, and I left. That was over. You're supposed to applaud now. Yeah, so that was the early days, and Light My Fire became #1 for 26 weeks. And it's been downhill ever since. Yeah. So, backing up a little, we rehearsed for about a year and a half. Not that long, really. But we played our instruments years before, and Jim read every book on the planet. And so when we got together, it was pretty quick. And then we played about a half a year in the Whiskey A Go-Go and clubs and got a record deal. And I hope that we pay the rent for 10 years. And it's 50 and I'm gray-haired and still talking about this friggin' day. Which is good. Now I'm going to have a drink of water. Yeah. So I used to say what made us so famous was the drumming. But thank you. Now I say it was every generation needs Jim to help cut their umbilical cord. So he passed, and we got bigger. Rolling Stone had him on the cover, and it said, "He's hot, he's sexy, and he's dead." Okay. And then cutting. Ray and Robbie wanted to play, which they should. Great musicians, I love them. With the name, and that was a problem. The Stones without Nick, the Police without Sting. Don't do it. Founding members of the Doors is cool, you know, just make it clear. They didn't, and so I had to do this really difficult thing of filing a lawsuit against them. Ugh. And lawyers being lawyers, their lawyers countersued me for more money than all of us collectively made in our life to scare me. It did. I didn't really tell my family how dire, but I stayed the course. So the countersuit was based on I wasn't fulfilling my fiduciary duty as a businessman to okay break on through to a new deodorant, or whatever. Weird. You know, thinking back when we were rehearsing at Robbie's parents' house on a break, Jim sat up on the couch and said, "Hey, look, you know, I don't know how to play a chord on any instrument. How do you write songs? What are we doing? I got lyrics, though, and I got melodies. That's how I remember the words. But let's just say that all songs written by the Doors, not lyrics by me. Let's split all the money. Oh, and let's have veto power in case anybody gets weird." Well, I became Mr. Veto. Yeah. So I want to say that a new band trying to pay the rent, do a commercial. I get it, you know. It's just our situation is different because, you know, Jim's my ancestor, and when we were considering Come On Buick Light My Fire for a ton of money, Jim said, "Great, let's do it. I'll smash the car on TV with a sledgehammer." That's a no. And he didn't write that song. What does that say? He cared about the whole catalog, right? So I got to stay with that. So this subject is really interesting. I'm going to read a little excerpt from an interview with Pete Townsend in Rolling Stone about this. Oh. Good. I'm missing something. Hang on. I got it. So, Chris Heath from Rolling Stone, he says, there's a few interesting uses of the Who's catalog at the moment. I thought it was strange that you let them use Bargain in the Nissan car ad, given that the song is so very much not about that. Townsend, Not many people know about that. Well, correct me if I'm interpreting it wrong, but the song is saying that you are prepared to give yourself up for enlightenment or spiritual satisfaction, and that is this is the bargain, the best bargain you've ever had. Yeah, that's right. Which is about as anti-materialistic a message as one could think of. So what's your point? Well, my point is that it's now being used to sell shiny new motor cars. I still don't get your point. You haven't completed the argument. Well, I'll complete it. And the suggestion of the ad is that one might buy a super new Nissan car, and that's the best for the finest price, and that's the bargain. Yeah, that's their suggestion, isn't it? Who fans will often think this is my song, it belongs to me. It reminds me of the first time that I kissed Susie, and you can't sell it. The fact is that I can, and I will, and I have. I don't give a fuck about the first time you kissed Susie. Ooh. Heat. Okay. And then the opposite point of view. I wrote an article in the Nation magazine. It went viral. I was very pleased about this subject. And Tom Waits wrote a response, a letter to the editor. Thank you for your eloquent rant. Thank you for your rant by John Densmore of the Doors on the subject of artists allowing their songs to be used as commercials. I spoke out whenever possible on the topic even before the Frito-Lay case. Parenthesis, Waits versus Frito-Lay. Where they used a sound-alike version of my song Step Right Up so convincingly that I thought it was me. Ultimately, after much trial and tribulation, we prevailed, and the court determined that my voice is my property. Songs carry emotional information, and some transport us back to a poignant time, place, or event in our lives. It's no wonder a corporation would want to hitch a ride on a spell these songs cast and encourage you to buy soft drinks, underwear, or automobiles in their trucks. Eventually, artists will be going on stage like race car drivers, covered in hundreds of logos sewn to their costume. Stay pure, John. Your credibility, your integrity, and your honor are things no company should be able to buy. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, so Robbie did not write Love Me Two Times because I'm going away. He wrote it about, in his backstory, subconscious, I'm going away to Vietnam was the idea. Not Love Me Two Times because I just took Viagra. And at the end of this chapter, I thank Johnny Cash's estate for not okaying Ring of Fire for a hemorrhoid commercial. The last sentence is, may Johnny's sphincter burning rest in peace. Yeah. So, Elvin Jones, John Coltrane's drummer, was my mentor. And on the weekend of this, between the trial stuff, I reflected back to Elvin, my teacher. So I'm going to read a little section about him. And play along. Polyrhythmic jazz machine behind John Coltrane broke on through to the other side on May 18, 2004. The most over behind train, laid it down on drums so heavy, so strong, that his pulse will be felt for centuries. It was 1965, and I nervously showed my fake ID from Tijuana to the doorman at Shelley's Manhole in Hollywood. The jazz club bouncer looked at it, gave me one last glance that said it was fake, and let me in to see my hero. At 16, I'd already pored over all of Coltrane's LPs, and my ears were being fed candy. Now I was going to see the man. He sat behind one of the greatest jazz quartets in history of the art form, and he did it with a huge grin. The Beatles hadn't hit yet, and Elvin was my muse. Between sets at the Manhole, I went back to the bathroom, not because I had to relieve myself, but it was next to the dressing room. I opened the redwood door of the head and occupied myself, washing my hands until I heard the voices on the other side of the wall going to the stage. Not wasting any time, I spun around and I grabbed the knob, wet hands and all. I could hear the musicians passing by. I couldn't get the door open. Wiping my hands on my pants, I used both to turn the knob. When the door opened, John Coltrane was staring at me. Wow. My reverence told me to chill, and I didn't give eye contact. I motioned that the head was empty, and he just headed to the stage. And I noticed people kind of got quiet when he went by. But Elle was smiling. Elvin Jones blazed the new path for all the rest of us timekeepers. He was the first to free up the job of clockwork, improvising continually. And never sacrificing a strong sense of pulse. Elvin served up multi-meals like an egg beater every 4 bars. He sounded like he was going to fall into his drum set, but he never did. His constant conversation with Coltrane inspired me to have a conversation with Jim on the song When the Music's Over. When the music's over. This is the part where you can see I should be the drummer, not the singer. When the music's over, turn up the left, turn up the left, turn up the left. Elvin played so loose, he gave me the courage to literally stop the beat during Jim's rap about the earth and just jab at my kit in quick, expressive grunts. What have they done to the earth? What have they done to our fair sister? Stuck her with knives in the side of the dawn, tied her with fences, dragged her down. I hear a very gentle sound. Take your ear down to the ground. They want the world and they want it. They want the world and they want it. We want the world and we want it. Now! I'm going to do a little Q&A after this last section. But, let's see, what do I want to say? When I first went to Père Lachaise in France, where Jim is buried, I went back to the hotel and I wrote a letter to him as if he could hear me. And then I thought, as a writer, ooh, this is a good technique. I'm going to drop that throughout this book, you know. And I wrote a letter to Ray and Robbie at the end of The Doors Unhinged. And I said, you know, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, but I want to make sure you read the last chapter, because in that I say how much I loved it, because how could I not? It created magic in the garage, you know? And so, hey, Ray, Robbie, you know, just a couple nights ago, I had a dream. Jim was in a dream, and we were recording, and his performance wasn't up to par. He wasn't drunk enough. He was peaceful and calm. He just couldn't focus, and he was apologetic about it. He was sorry. I'm sorry too. Sorry it was so hard for us to support his vision. Sorry that our road has become one of separation from the brothers and bandmates I grew up with. Sorry was the feeling I got from Jim's dream, but he had no regrets. Sorry, but not sorry. The truth is that we took the road that was laid out for us. We're still on it. And who knows where it will turn. Like the words that Jim wrote, I too love the friends Jim gathered on this thin raft. We floated down the Ganges, the holy river of life. Our raft was seaworthy only for a short crossing, though, due to the captain's directions and the weather was bad. Quickly, everyone went overboard, and to the surprise of some, the captain couldn't swim. Come on, baby, take a ride down the ocean side. Get real close. When I confronted Jim about his drug and alcohol use, it was my effort to throw him a life vest. But he wasn't interested. His fate had been written, and he followed it to his destiny. The destiny of us three remaining sailors isn't finished. Not two. Fate is still pushing us around, and hopefully forgiveness is in its wings. We'll stop a second. So, when I heard Ray was getting sick, I had won the lawsuit, but there was still tension. And I called him, and I was very happy he picked the phone up. Nobody picks the phone up anymore, right? And we just talked about his health. He said he was going to Germany. I said, yeah, I heard that's really good for alternative cancer. And he said, give my love to Dorothy, and that was about it. It was short. But I feel very blessed to have had that phone call. I didn't know it was going to be the last. And then when he passed, I said to Robbie, death trumps everything. Let's play some music, you know. And we played LACMA at the LA County Museum of Art for a few hundred people. And we said to the audience, we're not singers, maybe you can help out. And they sang every song. So touching and healing. The first one was, people are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked haunted, the streets are uneven, and you're dead. When you're strange,
The sky, the rain,
when you're strange, no one remembers. Yeah, when you're strange, yeah. Thank you. Great. All right, so where was I? Forgiveness is about, the healing and forgiveness happens as it is now. So I just needed to have available for those who are interested my story of what I went through. And here it is now. Now I'm going to tell you what I love about you both. Ray, I felt totally in sync with you musically. It was like we were one mind holding down the pocket for Robbie and Jim to float on top of. Robbie, my meditation brother, your solo soared like Coltrane. Your intuitive songwriting ability was beyond compare. Ray, thank you for introducing me to Jim. I was so pleased when you and Jim saw what I saw in Robbie. Robbie, I cherish the years we were best friends. I always felt you were the brother I lost, and I was the one you lost. I now know that our songs are going to be around after we've exited this global stage, and I am, as I know you are, extremely proud of our accomplishments. We can be remembered as even more special if we don't pollute our goal, and if we remember to be generous with fruits, sincerely and with deep respect for your artistry. Chuck.
All right, so I think we have time for a few.
Publisher.
I'm the publisher of the book. My name's John Temple. I run Akashic Books in Brooklyn, but right now I am a facilitator. If there's any questions.
Wait. So I got some pretty cool stablemates which he signed. Chuck D's on Akashic. Ron Kovic, who wrote Born on the 4th of July, is on Akashic. Very creative. Brooklyn crew.
We're the luckiest little publisher in Brooklyn. And so, does anyone have any questions? And if you do, please keep them somewhat succinct and make sure they're questions rather than statements. You, sir, in the glasses, your hand went up first.
I don't give a shit.
Sure.
Oh, that'll take forever. Oh, he's gonna do it. Okay,
Just a very quick comment and then the question. I thought it was ironic that we're on the 27th floor and that's where Jim got off as well.
Yeah.
At a pathetically low age, young age.
You know
So
about the 27th?
we're on the 27th floor. That brings back a lot of, just a coincidence, but anyway.
I'm going to say something.
Oh.
Amy Winehouse, Jim, Janice, Jimmy, on and on and on.
Kurt, the 27 Club, there's even a documentary about it.
Here's the thing. African cultures had this thing called Latina, where the elders watched over the youth. This is thousands of years ago, from the age 14 to 27. They knew something, you know? In your early 20s, you're immortal, right? Your late 20s, oh my God, you just might have kids and get married, and, so. What was your question?
Okay, so here's a question. You mentioned that Rolling Stone cover. I found the 81 10th anniversary framed here in Manhattan, and I visited Ray in Beverly Hills in 2000 for a documentary I was doing. So I brought it all the way there and I gave it to him in that house he had. We had that lime green Volkswagen bug. He just got it then. So he was very, very touched. And he said he's going to put that in the Doors office immediately. Now, 10 years ago, I asked you when you did the library appearance on the Upper West Side if it was there. Is it still there? I'm just curious.
What was your name?
Michael. Is it still on, I asked one question. Is it still on the wall on the door's office?
You know, I'll be 79 in a week. I hope so. Next question.
It was nice to see Ray light up when I gave it to him, like, as in the song.
The woman in the black, yes.
I'll take the mic.
Hi, my name's Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
I was wondering, do you think the members of the Doors would be happy with the information you're putting out?
Do I think?
Yeah, do you think they'd be happy?
Who?
The other members of the Doors.
Well, I hear Jim and Ray. I channel them all the time. That's why I'm doing this. Jim is so upset while it was over on this side. I want to honor that, you know. And Robbie and I are cool. We're all right. Thanks.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah.
Person in the way back.
Okay, hi. So recently I had the opportunity to listen to the new box set. There's a new box set out of The Doors at the Matrix in 1967, which I highly recommend to anyone who has not heard it yet. And what I remember thinking when listening to this was how young of a band you were at that time. And but you really didn't sound that way. You sound like you've been playing for years, yeah, as a band. And I was wondering what your thoughts were about that.
We were tight. We definitely, you know, we had the same jazz sensibilities that Robbie brought flamenco. And it's tight. But you can tell the records, the Matrix, is interesting to hear because we didn't know how to make really great records yet. It's a learning process. So that's kind of a step along the way. It's cool. I used to think, oh my God, George Harrison said, if they put out any more Beatles projects, they should have the Surgeon General warning. And I felt the same. There's so much worse shit out there. Then I thought, you know, I have a Coltrane album with 6 takes of one song leading up to the master, and I like it. So for you freaks,
This gentleman here.
It's so fitting that you mentioned George, because I was going to ask the Beatles song that just came out, and it made me want to ask if that's ever a possibility. I mean, a new Doors song in the same spirit as the new Beatles song.
Okay, let's see. Can AI channel Jim and Ray? You see, the thing is with this, it's called Then and Now. They have
But it's
little.
actually John's voice.
I understand. That's what I was going to say. They have little tidbits of John. You know, like for us to, we have to. We're scraping the barrel now.
You did 30 years earlier with an American Prayer.
Well, that's true. Hey.
And now you got better technology.
Yeah, we had Jim's poetry and we made American Prayer, which was really fun. Okay, maybe. I'm down.
Let's go to this side of the room. Those two people, him and her.
Quick question, John. How often do you drum now?
I just did. I'm looking for music in between sentences primarily, you know. But I do, well, Chuck D and I are messing around. And I would say for Robbie and I would be doing something down the road. I don't need an album made, but playing together live in some situation.
Right.
It's not my main thing. You know, the length of a sentence is a musical question. If your sentence is short, it's percussive. If it's long, it's melodic. Or it's a runoff, and you better edit. So anyway, I'm playing around. You know, I met Steve Jordan. He's playing with the Stones now. Charlie Watts. And he played with Sonny Rollins. Oh my God, incredible jazz guy. I said, Steve, that is quite a gap. How do you do that? And he said, it's all the same. You know, music, writing, whatever. It can get your heart pried open. Lots of good shit comes out. Next question.
Hi, John. Thank you for being here. We're so thrilled to see you. One of the questions I had, and you did touch upon it earlier, I was curious if you still feel that connection with Jim and Ray. And you mentioned you had a dream about him once. I was just curious if you still feel like you connect with them to this day.
Yeah, you know, in one of these books, which one? This one or The Seekers? I quote George Harrison. And he was asked the question of how did he feel about John? His connection across the veil, whatever. And he said, well, you know, over here, if you felt really deeply with someone, and after they pass, if you can't continue that, then how are you going to feel deep about Jesus or Allah or whoever you're into? Pretty cool question. So, yeah, I can feel Ray and Jim off and on. And all musicians, I would say, yeah, big band in the sky, we're going to be cooking.
Yes, hey John. So, if Jim had lived after Elliot Woman, what do you think would have happened next, and how long do you think the band would have actually stayed together?
You got a Ouija board? You know, I think maybe we would have, first of all, people used to say, would Jim be around today, would he be clean and sober? And I used to say, no, how's he from? I changed that in the last few years. It was not cool. They had substance abuse clinics, but Clapton and Eminem hadn't gotten on board. Of course, Jim was around. And Ray and Jim were in film school, and you know, we were real interested in film. So I'll bet we'd be doing some sort of music and film combination.
I have a quick question about, you're mentioning about jazz. Do you think you might ever do a project with some of the other jazz contemporaries out there now and do another project or film scores?
Well, there's a lad back there who I bet you I'm going to be doing something with. May I? Yeah. Chuck mentioned Jack Holzman, who signed the band. Well, his son is here tonight, Adam. And Adam, I think, if I may speak for you, I think Ray inspired Adam to play, pretty much. And Adam went on to play with Miles fucking Davis. So, you know, he came over to my house a year ago, give or take, and we jammed. Ooh, we were smoking. So maybe we'll get that down on wax. Yeah. You don't need a mic, just go.
What's your favorite Doors song to play, John?
I hate that question. All of the songs are my favorite. Okay, LA Woman, Riders on the Storm. You know, we played Light My Fire, and everybody danced. It was really great. And then we'd do our encore of the end, and then everyone would leave quiet. They were bludgeoned. And then Ray and I would talk about how they're not dissipating it in applause. They're taking it home to chew on. It's kind of good. Yeah. So, a few more. Yeah.
How has your personal philosophy and perspective on music evolved over the years? How would you say
Give him the mic again. No, that's me.
How has your personal philosophy and perspective on music evolved over the years? Deep question.
Let's see, I've written 3 books, 3,300 pages each. That doesn't say it, I don't know what. I'm sorry, I put it all in the books. I don't know what else to say. Read the book. Yeah.
I just have a quick question. I want to say thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, is that true that he was once one of your roomies? And what was that like?
Harrison Ford was in UCLA Film School, and so when we played the Hollywood Bowl, he was a good grip helping with the equipment. He was not a famous dude at all yet. Nice guy, he was a carpenter, that's why he was so good at building sets. Yeah.
Obviously, your message in music is very related to specific to you.
Je ne comprends pas.
Okay. Well, yeah, I know I have an accent.
No, très bon.
I would say your music and your message is very related to a specific period, which was in the 60s, 70s, and so on.
Yeah.
What do you think about today's music, and how do you think your message could fit into today's music and scenes?
I don't have my finger on the pulse of what's going on today. I know there's a lot of pop stuff, and there's some good stuff out there too. So, but I do take offense when people diss the 60s as failing, because the seeds of civil rights, feminism, peace were planted in the 60s. They're big seeds. Maybe they take hundreds of years to come to full fruition. So don't get out your watering can. Okay.
Let's take two
just
more
a couple
questions.
more. Yeah. Yeah. Laurel Canyon was a party. Yeah, a lot of creative people. And whoever played the whiskey got in free. That just on the when they weren't playing. The Vietnam War was raging, so the 60s were not all. A lot of people died. And it's a dark side, that's for sure. Yeah.
All right, one final question.
Boy, it better be good. No pressure. All right, a couple of questions. Go ahead. All of you at once.
I guess you back.
Go ahead.
Any favorite New York memories or places you like to visit here?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we played Undines under the 59th Street Bridge. Jesus, we stayed at the Warwick up the road. The Stones were there too. Jim and Nick were in the elevator together. What else? Yeah. Oh, well, Ray said that New York is our best audience. He's right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.